lot of literature and videos and blog posts talk about setting goals, and I hate almost all of them. What I'm going to do today is walk you through a 4-step goal setting framework. And I promise you, it's probably something you haven't really seen in the past because it's not from a business book, but from a science book. Number one is, what problem are we solving? A lot of times you don't even know what problem you're solving with the activity you're doing. And if you don't, you probably don't need to do it. This is especially true lower in the organization because there people aren't really connected to the overarching picture of what the company is trying to achieve. Most business goals can be chalked up to one of 3 things. 1, it gets you more customers. 2, it makes the customers more valuable. And number 3, it increases the overall enterprise value of the company. If you can't articulate why your goal is going to do that, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. So the first of the 4 steps is, what problem are we actually trying to solve? For example, if you make the website load speed faster, it will decrease the time, of course, that the website loads, which will in turn lead to more people seeing the pages and more people opting in. And of course, it will mean that you will have less customer churn and your customers will become more valuable and you'll get more customers. If you or your department can't really understand how exactly what you're doing is getting you more customers, making customers more valuable, and making the overall enterprise value of the company higher, then you don't really understand your job. And if you're an entrepreneur that has a department and you don't know how exactly that department is providing value to the business, then that is the first thing that you need to identify within your business. If this process actually makes you think, you're actually on the right path. Because if you can just knock out goals like that, it probably means you haven't spent enough time thinking through them. And number 2 is creating a hypothesis, because when you're setting an action for a goal, you're not actually trying to get the action, but you're trying to get the result. So you're hoping that something is going to happen, right? So if we do one thing differently, we want to see if a result will happen. For example, as a sales goal, if you want to decrease the time that you call leads from 30 minutes to 5 minutes, you're hoping that this will increase the amount of pickups, and down the line, it will increase the number of people who get sold, which means that your conversion rate is higher. This is literally the hardest part in the whole thing, is what hypothesis are actually trying to test, because we can't really know the outcome until we test something. And we're not guaranteed that the business is actually going to react in the way you want it to react, because there have been a lot of times where we set goals and done some things, but it did not end up in the result that we wanted. That's why you shouldn't really necessarily state a goal, but a hypothesis. So 1 is what you think it will happen, and 2, what problem will you and your hypothesis solve if it turns out to be correct? So those are the 2 variables. Basically, 1 is the activity I'm going to do, and 2 is the output that I'm hoping for. What am I hoping to happen? Number 3, what direct action am I going to take? Which basically in this example is, I'm going to call leads faster to, of course, hopefully get a higher pickup rate. Also, do you have a baseline for the input? For example, if right now you're at 37 minutes to call them and you want to get to 5 minutes, and then you want to get the pickup rate from 50 to 70%, that is the change that we're looking to see. That is the goal. And number 4 is, what do you think is going to happen? So first of all, did I do the input? Did I reduce the call time from 37 minutes to 5 minutes? If we did, then that's agreed. And here's where it's important. We may have decreased the call time to under 5 minutes, but we may have not increased the scheduling at all. That's why it's a hypothesis. Now, again, did what I want to happen actually happen? That's where you can input comment. And so in this example, if what we ended up doing is getting it down to 7 minutes, but we didn't see any change at all, at this point, we don't really need to get down to 5 minutes because we didn't see any directional improvement. It takes a lot to go from 0 to 1, a lot of shiny objects, a lot of testing, a lot of iterate until something clicks in the beginning. Big businesses often grow in a series of 1% increments, 1%, 1%, 1%, because if you've seen the Excel math, that's how it actually grows. So if I only got 10% of people to click in, and 15% of people opt in, and actually 20% of people to show up, and my closing rate went from 25 to 35, you add this all together and boom, you tripled your business. And everyone is so distracted trying to reinvent the wheel rather than just making it run smoother and faster. And a lot of times in the 5 to 10, 10 to 20 million top line range, that's the systems that we put in place because that's how the big boys play. And if you just make 100 small improvements year over year over year, that's how you become unbeatable. And of course, your competition will see your marketing, they'll see your emails, they try to copy that, but that really won't matter because they won't see behind the scenes all of the systems, the goals, the hypotheses, and the KPIs that you've put in place to actually track, measure, and improve everything. And a lot of times in early businesses, just measuring everything may be the goal for this quarter because that's how you set a baseline which you can improve on. Let's say you're a videographer for Rap and Sign Shop. all of these goals should go from the top down. So if we say that these are the 5 goals of the company, the department heads are going to have different activities to actually test if the hypothesis is right or not. I like to have everyone as far down in the organization as possible do this because it actually recenters everything and it causes everyone to think about why they're doing what they're doing. And a lot of times employees lose motivation, especially lower in the company, because they do not know what their activities are solving for, what problems are they solving, how it connects with the overarching picture. They might not think about it that way, but that is the goal. Well, in the videographer example, let's say my hypothesis is that I need to double on the amount of content I'm producing. And so let's say I want to double the reels I put out, which should increase the traffic that goes to the site, which should increase the opt-in rate, which should increase the amount of wrap and sign appointments that the company is getting. And at the end of the quarter, did I make twice as many shorts? Okay, green light, that's fantastic. Did it result in more traffic in the site? No. Okay, let's think about it. Why is that? Maybe I should make more story-driven content and then I test that hypothesis and see how that translates in the real world. That's why goal setting, if done right, should take time and effort, because you have to stop and think, why am I doing what I'm doing? And if you don't take a whole day out of a quarter to think, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why are you even bothering trying to improve things? And the thing is, if you think this way as a teammate or even as an entrepreneur, you will be a lot more valuable to the company, to your employees, or to the person you're working for. How a good business owner should think. Even if you approach your boss or the person you're working for in that way, I think it'll help them see things differently and they will be greatly appreciative of that. And they're like, wow, Timmy is actually thinking about what I care about, which is getting more customers. And then the second part, of course, is that when you know why you're doing what you're doing, it makes things a lot easier. And that's the simplest goal setting framework that we use. We also use it with our clients. We use it with everything we do. It's worked for us and maybe it'll work for you.